Everyone said the billionaire's twins were impossible, 10 years old, brilliant, and cruel enough to make every nanny quit within days. But no one knew what they were truly hiding. And no one expected the quiet maid, yes, the maid, to be the one who uncovered their secret and changed their lives forever. Stay with me till the end, because what she did will restore your faith in humanity. The Carrington mansion was the kind of place that made people whisper. 100 rooms, glass walls that reflected the sky, and a silence so heavy that even the staff walked softly. But inside this grand palace lived two 10-year-old shadows, Ethan and Emily Carrington, the billionaire's twins, known throughout the city for driving away every nanny who dared enter their world. Some lasted a week. Some lasted a day. One lasted only 3 hours. They weren't misbehaved in the way most children were. They were clever, too clever. They hid car keys, locked rooms from the outside, set up elaborate pranks, and said cutting words in disturbingly calm voices. Their father, Alexander Carrington, one of the wealthiest businessmen in the country, simply sighed every time a nanny left. "They'll grow out of it," he'd say, before diving back into conference calls and late-night meetings. He didn't see how the twins watched the front door every evening, waiting for him. He didn't notice how they turned away when he never came. One rainy morning, when yet another nanny stormed out in tears, the mansion's housekeeping agency sent in a new employee, not a nanny, but a maid. Maria Alvarez, a 32-year-old widow who worked quietly, spoke gently, and refused to be intimidated by wealth or reputations. She arrived wearing a simple uniform and carrying nothing but a small lunchbox. The staff whispered behind her. "She won't last a day. She doesn't know what she's walking into. Those twins will eat her alive." But Maria didn't come to judge anyone. She had lost enough in her life to recognize pain disguised as anger. And the moment she met the twins, standing at the top of the staircase, watching her like two wild cats, she saw something no one else had bothered to see. Not arrogance. Not evil. But fear. The twins tested her immediately. Ethan hid her cleaning supplies. Emily locked her in the laundry room. And when she came out without yelling, they stared at her, confused. "Why aren't you mad?" Emily asked, arms crossed. Maria smiled softly. "Because angry kids aren't bad kids. Angry kids are hurting kids." Their expressions flickered, just for a second, before Ethan muttered, "You don't know anything." Maybe she didn't. But she intended to try. Over the next weeks, Maria watched everything. The twins never smiled. They barely ate. They avoided their father like he was a stranger. Their rooms were spotless, not because they were tidy, but because they didn't play. They didn't laugh. They didn't act like children at all. And every night at exactly 8 p.m., the twins sat by their bedroom window, staring into the driveway with the same heartbreaking hope in their eyes. Waiting for their father. He never came home on time. One night, after Maria brought them dinner, she finally asked the question no one else had dared. "Why do you drive everyone away? You two are smart enough to know it hurts you." The twins exchanged a glance, one filled with secrets, and Ethan finally whispered, "Because if we make them leave first, they can't abandon us." Maria's breath caught. There it was. The truth buried beneath months, years, of mischief. They weren't monsters. They were children protecting themselves from a world that kept walking out on them. When Maria reached out to hug Emily, the little girl flinched, but then melted into her arms, as if she'd been waiting forever for someone to hold her without letting go. And for the first time in years, the twins cried. They cried until they had no strength left. And Maria held them the whole time, promising them softly. "You will never have to face anything alone again, not while I'm here." What none of them knew was that the biggest challenge of all was yet to come. The next weeks changed everything. The staff noticed it first, the mansion felt lighter. The twins started following Maria around the house, asking questions, helping with chores, even laughing sometimes, laughs that sounded rusty, as if they had forgotten how. Emily baked cookies with her. Ethan fixed things around the house just to impress her. And every night, instead of waiting by the window alone, they waited with her. Maria didn't replace their mother. She simply became their safe place. But the peace didn't last long. One afternoon, as Maria was dusting Alexander Carrington's private study, she heard the twins whispering outside the door, panicked, arguing, terrified. Maria can't find out. He'll fire her if she does. No, Dad will send us away again. Her heart froze. Again? Send them away? Maria stepped out and gently asked, "What are you two hiding?" Both children stiffened. Ethan's hands trembled. Emily's eyes filled instantly with tears. "We didn't mean to, we just wanted to help," Emily sobbed. "Help with what?" Maria asked softly. That's when Ethan opened the study door. Inside were stacks of unopened letters, unpaid bills from therapists, school reports marked declining emotional health, and files from child behavior specialists who had warned Alexander for years. These children do not need discipline. They need presence. And on the desk lay one heartbreaking document. A boarding school application, for both twins, starting next month. Maria's chest tightened. "Did your father tell you?" Ethan shook his head. "We found it by accident. He didn't want to deal with us anymore." Emily broke down. "We tried to act strong. We tried to show we didn't care. But he doesn't want us." And suddenly everything made sense, the pranks, the anger, the way they pushed every nanny away before getting attached. Because the person they loved most had already abandoned them emotionally. Maria knelt beside them and pulled them close. "Listen to me. Your father is not a bad man. He is a broken man who loves you, but he has forgotten how to show it. Let me help him remember." The twins didn't believe her. But they trusted her. That evening, when Alexander finally walked through the front door, tired, distracted, and halfway through replying to an email, Maria stood in front of him and said firmly, "Sir, you have to talk to your children." "I'm busy," he muttered. She didn't move. "Then make time. Because they think you don't love them." The phone slipped from his hand. Minutes later, Maria guided him into the study where the twins stood together, trembling. At first, no one spoke. Then Alexander's voice cracked, a sound no one in the mansion had ever heard. "I never meant to hurt you." Ethan's eyes filled. "Then why are you sending us away?" Alexander's face went pale. And in that moment, Maria realized he hadn't even looked at the application papers. His assistant had filed them automatically, like they did every year. He had signed without reading. The realization shattered him. "Kids," he whispered, falling to his knees in front of them. "I thought keeping you in the best schools, giving you comfort, giving you staff. I thought it would make up for the fact that I lost your mother. I didn't know how to raise you alone. So I buried myself in work, and left you alone too." Emily sobbed. "We didn't want things, we wanted you." Alexander broke, completely. He wrapped his arms around them, and it was the first time in years that the family felt whole again. The next morning, the boarding school applications were thrown into the trash. The nanny position was officially closed. And Alexander made a promise to be present, to be involved, to be a father again. As for Maria, the twins refused to let her leave. She stayed, not as a maid, not as a worker, but as part of their family. Because in the end, she hadn't just cleaned a mansion. She cleaned wounds that no one else saw. And healed hearts that everyone else had given up on.